Welcome to the Star in Frisco for another episode of Dallas Cowboys Overtime here on StarTelegram.com. Something looks decidedly different for this edition. I am Fort Worth Star Telegram columnist Mac Engel and my good friend Mr. Clarence Engel Jr. And what you'll notice, not only are we matching, but we're actually together shooting one of these for the first time in years. Not months. Years. That's how long all of this stuff has gone on.
But they're still going to pandemic. Don't spit on me.
Did I spit on you?
Don't breathe on me. Pandemic. Where's my mask? Where is my mask? I need
probably someplace in your car. Good luck on finding it. We are at Dallas Cowboys practice facility team headquarters as they just had their pre-NFL draft press conference where they sold us a bag of goods and lied through their teeth about how I don't even know what they lied about. But Clarence, before we get into that, you've got some merchandise here that I imagine you'll probably pocket and put on eBay here before the end of the day.
I'm not Stephen.
Wow. Who signed this ball? Who signed this ball?
So Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Bob Lilly, Randy White, and Mel Renfro, all Hall of Famers. And the next Cowboys Hall of Famer, they will pick on Thursday.
Ooh, I like it. But will he be a first-round pick? Because according to Dallas Cowboys Vice President Stephen Jones, the draft on Thursday, which will only feature the first round, apparently there are not a lot of first-round picks. There's like 10 of them, even though there's 32 of them technically, but only like 15 guys get first-round grades.
Yeah.
15?
Only 14 to 16 players have first-round grades. Now, the Cowboys have done a good job identifying first-round picks. Give them credit. I think 7 of the last 8 first-round picks have made the Pro Bowl.
If you go back and look at the last 10 years or so, Will McClay, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, Jason Garrett, they did a nice job drafting guys.
Outside of Taco, yes.
Taco was a disaster. But other than that, and he was a late first-round pick. But I think for the most part, you got to say the Cowboys have drafted players pretty well for about 10 years straight. So if they're sitting there saying there's only like 15 guys with first-round grades, they're probably full of it. But for the most part, I think you have to feel pretty good about how they handle the draft.
No, especially in the first round. They certainly have a philosophy with Will McClay and, how they set up the boards. They usually take big school prospects and they've kind of streamlined that thing. But, they've had a lot of success, again, outside of Taco. And when generally there's never 32 first-round picks. There are 32 picks. But there are never 32 guys who have first-round grades.
No, usually the number's like 20.
It's somewhere 18 to 20. It's a little thinner this year. This draft is deeper in the 4th to 5th round. It's thin at the top, which tells you a lot. So based on what the Cowboys might do on the first day, they're going to play option quarterback. They're going to be available, be flexible to maneuver depending on what happens in front of them. If one of their guys is still available as they get closer to the 24th pick, they could move up.
Okay, so of all the lies that Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and Mike McCarthy just tossed out here a little while ago, which was your favorite? Which is the one where you're like, you what? You said what? Jerry's usually always got a load of them, but Stephen had a win in there too. Do you have any favorites in there?
I mean, it was filibustering. It was just Jerry talk. It was just let's talk. And
say words.
We have to do this press conference, because it's a media responsibility. We don't really want to tell them what we want to do. Well, Stephen said they have no must-haves. They have no must-haves. This team is a Super Bowl team. There's no must-haves. There's no must. They have no must.
They got rid of their top wide receiver, Amari Cooper. They lost their second best pass rusher, right?
Yes.
They
don't have a starting left guard.
Their left tackle's good for no more than 10 games.
And the projected starting cornerback may be in jail or may be suspended.
Their running back now wore a knee brace for the second half of the season, and he's on the roster only because his cap number, his salary, his contract is so big, he's got to be here.
And his backup is a free agent, and he may not be on the team in 2023.
But they're no must-haves.
And they only have one linebacker they can count on.
No must-haves.
No must-haves.
They're fine.
No must-haves.
And so I feel when he said that, my confidence in this club going forward in 2022 was here.
Right.
Went to about here.
Right. And then Jerry also said that, they let Randy go because of
talking about Randy Gregory.
They let Randy Gregory go because they had Dorrance Armstrong and the other guy. And the other guy.
Fowler. Don't even know his name.
No, he didn't say Fowler.
Didn't even say his name.
He said the other guy.
Who is he?
The other
I don't
guy.
know. Somebody.
Dorrance Armstrong and the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy. Jerry didn't say something today that he normally would say, which is, I like our numbers. He's talking about quantity of players. He would always say, I like our numbers. It shows you how long Clarence and I have been around this guy. We can sit here and quote him. But he didn't say that today. He got one name right. He got Dorrance right. The other guy was another guy. But usually it was always numbers. Who cares if they're any good? Well, we got a lot of numbers.
Right. Well, what he also says, especially on draft week and leading up to draft, just because I said don't make it so.
That's another one.
So,
I said it, doesn't mean it's true.
Don't mean it's true. And so that's why you have to take what they say today with a grain of salt.
Oh, my God,
into the
a bag
draft,
of salt.
You know,
but the one thing that Steven said that I really enjoyed, I don't know what McCarthy said. I felt bad for him. Like, dude, what
he was just up there.
Yeah, it was. It was like a giant. Yeah, it was. It was a prop.
Yeah, he's
the one thing Steven said was how loaded this draft is in the middle rounds. It's all the crappy players who never do anything, especially for this team. That's where this draft is really deep, and that's what we're going to get excited about. So they're not getting the first round player that they're going to get with the 24th overall pick. Yeah, he's not a first round player, right? Because there's only 14, 15 guys who get first round grades. So this team's going to get rich, where it's really going to solve the problem. 4th, 5th rounds.
Right.
No.
But Jerry also said that the first round player, whoever they draft, has to come in and start immediately.
That's the truth. I mean, but isn't that
based on the salary cap and the decisions they made? So again,
if he's someone, not starting, they have really screwed up.
You need someone to come in and start, and so kind of that's where we are. What are they going to do? Are they going to trade up? They're going to trade back? They're going to stand pat? That's the question. That's what we're are going to be looking for on Thursday. The thing that he said, he's right. They have to be flexible. They were flexible last year. At 24, you're basically beholden to what happens in front of you. So you can't really hone in on one guy. You have to have a lot of guys on your board and be ready to make a pick or make a trade depending on what happens in front of you. Because there could be a lot of volatility in this draft before that.
And at pick 24, unlike last season where the Cowboys picked, 11th or 13th?
They were 10th. They picked 12th.
Oh, okay, so there we go.
Yeah.
So they get Micah Parsons.
They dropped back to 12.
So they had Micah Parsons, which obviously is the home run of all home run hits in the last class. At 24, the names are going to be a little bit more obscure. It's not like you're taking Kenny Pickett or somebody like that. Is there
Kenny Pickett's obscure? He's
is he
quarterback?
Why? Because he has small hands. Is that why everybody hates Kenny Pickett now? Because he has small hands.
Is he going top 5? No.
I think he might be top 11, 12.
Compared to the past few drafts when the quarterbacks were number one overall picks,
Burrow, all those guys.
Quarterback is not. Right. This draft is not deep in quarterback.
No. But in terms of what name? Is there any name? Like, there's positions that I like for a first rounder. I think it's going to be offensive.
Or the receivers are running off the board, and the Cowboys would love to take one of the top receivers, but they won't. And certainly, you're going to look at the situation where who will they pick? Who are the Cowboys going to pick? Let's put some names out there. Who will they pick in his drafts? And you talk about, I think they would like to get a receiver because they're going to need a receiver. The needs are receiver, offensive line, guard, tackle, linebacker, pass rush in, and maybe cornerback, even though
you're not going to find, though, a top quality pass rush end at 24. You're not. You're just not. You might not a guy who's going to start and be impactful. Not at 24. You're not.
And white guy went pretty late. When they took Taco over him, and he's doing pretty good.
Did you say the white guy?
White guy. Come on, stop it. Y'all always bringing up praise. I said the white.
I was like, the white guy's like, you're not wrong.
Watt.
You're right.
TJ Watt.
Yeah, he was decent. You're right. He just kind of worked out. Over Taco.
You sound like the people on Twitter. Y'all want to bring it up right now? I did it with Watt.
When you said it so fast, like the white guy.
The Watt guy. Watt.
You weren't wrong. He was a white guy. He's a pretty good one too. I'm thinking the thing that you just said though, that is just asinine to me, and it's not your fault. You say a lot of asinine things.
No,
this isn't your fault.
No.
Well, they're going to spend another high pick on a wide receiver. Stop before you say it. Mari Cooper was essentially a first-round pick because they traded a first-round pick to get him from Oakland. He was here for 3 years, right? CeeDee Lamb was a first-round pick. These are all picks in the last 4 years, right? CeeDee Lamb was a first-round pick. Then they used a 3 on Michael Gallup, who now is their starting wide receiver because they just gave him a whole bunch of money, even though he's coming off a torn ACL.
And we're going to miss the first 2 or 3 games of the season.
And he's going to miss,
if not more.
Right. And now, after dumping Amari Cooper because they didn't like him, they didn't like him,
or they didn't want to pay us $20 million.
And they didn't like him. They didn't like him. You're going to tell me they're going to go out and get a wide receiver at 24 over guard, center, nose tackle, kicker? They need a kicker.
They need a kicker.
They need a kicker.
But
Linebacker.
they're not
safety.
money in the first round.
Another cornerback because this one's going to be in jail in 4 months. I'm just kidding. Really select a wide receiver.
I'm saying it's on the board. It's something they should consider. Number one, if you go get a receiver, if you get a special receiver, you can control him for 4 or 5 years with the salary cap.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You could get a Amari Cooper talent, but not have to pay him $20 million.
Yeah, well, the Raiders did, but they traded him after 65 games.
Or Tyreek Hill was getting $30 million. I mean,
they got a 5th round pick for Amari Cooper. The Kansas City Chiefs gave up Tyreek Hill and got 30 first-round picks from the Dolphins. I'm paraphrasing.
Again, that has happened. We've moved on. We got to let what they got for Cooper go. The bottom line is heading into the draft on Thursday, who might they take? Certainly,
I don't know.
I talked about we've talked about receiver, and certainly Treylon Burks, kid from Arkansas, he could be there. Chris Olave or Ohio State certainly would be a wonderful choice. Jamison Williams, who I think is the best receiver in the draft out of Alabama, who's coming off ACL injury. But if he's there, I'm pulling the trigger. But the practical options are certainly taking a Zion Johnson out of Boston College, who could be a walk-in starter at left guard, or the Green out of Texas A&M.
When you started talking about wide receivers, I thought, you make
Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M.
You made really solid argument why they would take a wide receiver. It's an indictment that they would need to do it. But the one thing, and I can't remember if it was McCarthy or Steven talked about it today. I think it was Steven who talked about drafting, need versus want and all that. And I think the Cowboys, unlike when they drafted CeeDee Lamb, who they really didn't expect to be there, if it comes down to receiver or a guard and they both grade about the same, they're going to take the kid from A&M. They're going to take the kid from Boston College. They're going to take the offensive lineman. They're going to try to get Zach Martin again.
They should.
It's damn right they should.
They should.
I mean, that's what I think they're going to do. And if they don't, do you think any of those receivers you named are that much better than those offensive linemen?
Well, that's the question. I think that, yes, I think that Jamison Williams could be special, a very special player. I think that Chris Olave could be a very special player. And so I think the guards are very good. I don't think Kenyon Green is when they talk about 16, I don't think Kenyon Green is one of the top 16 first-round talented players on the board.
No, but I mean,
I think those receivers are among the 16 players that they say they are a first-round talent.
A&M has had a great run of producing some top offensive linemen the last 12 or 13 years, really. I think if you can get that guy, given what they've done, Boston College had a great run of producing a lot of good offensive linemen. I think those are really safe picks. And the one thing we've consistently seen under Will McClay with Stephen Jones, it's why they got Zach Martin as opposed to Johnny Manziel. They do safe really, really well. And that's why I think one of those guys will be – it's not necessarily those guys, that position is what they're going to do.
No, and listen, I picked a guard in my mock draft, Star Telegram mock draft, and I think that's what they should do. That's the practical thing. The guy can be a walk-in starter at left guard and start for 10 years. That's the biggest need. That's where you have the most obvious hole. Well, I'm just saying that if those receivers are available, they will be tempted.
Yeah, especially with the other guy in the room named Jerry Jones. Last thing we're going to talk about here on Cowboys Overtime is the Kelvin Joseph situation. Jerry Jones was asked about it today. They really didn't commit to any potential outcome, penalty, suspension, or scenario. You and I both know this is going to take a while to play out. Mm-hmm. Considering all the things that have happened, do you think Kelvin Joseph, a second-round draft pick last season from Kentucky, will be a Dallas Cowboy in week 1? Not active on the roster. Will he be a part of the franchise?
It's a tough one, because, Jerry, claims that, he really threw us a curveball today when he said, I'm more conservative about guys with red flags than I was 15 years ago.
Yeah, then he talked about Randy Gregory. And Randy Gregory's red flags were a lot different than Kelvin Joseph.
Right, but the point is you drafted Kelvin Joseph and Josh Ball last year, who has a rap sheet as long as my arm last year, and they had red flags. But you still took them last year. Kelvin Joseph had obvious red flags. When you get kicked out of LSU, you got red flags. I just wanted to know that. Okay. Because LSU kicks no one out. They're like OU and Kansas basketball.
It's probably true. The national championship test is good. But, you know,
so he had red flag, but they still picked him. So where were you conservative about it? And so there's a question of whether he should be on the roster. He's out here participating in the offseason program, and they're focused on the season right now. And there's nothing the NFL can do and the Cowboys can do to say he shouldn't be out here because he has not been arrested. The thing is still pending. The Cowboys are going to let the situation play out. The question is, should they?
Should they cut him? Like, should they cut him? I don't think they can. Right? I mean,
they can.
They're not going to.
No, they're not.
They're not. This is going to totally depend on what the Dallas Police Department ultimately determines, and I'm sure a lawyer or two as well. I would bet, not all of my money, but a lot of it, he'll be a Cowboy in the fall.
He'll be a Cowboy, but will he be playing? He could be suspended.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think I wouldn't be surprised because under any definition, what he did falls under the very large umbrella of the player's conduct policy.
Yes,
is that what we're calling it now?
Yes, yeah.
So I think he'll be suspended for 3-5 games or something like that. But I would be willing to bet that he's a Cowboy and he'll play for him in 2022. You?
It's hard not to take that bet. I mean, you know, and bet on the side you're betting on because of the Cowboys' track record, you know. But again, when Jerry talked about picking him, they fall in love with the talent, and he has potential. He has talent. He's, you know, basically, let Jerry say if he didn't have the off the field issues, he'd been a first round pick last year. That's how.
Is that true?
I don't remember that, but that's what Jerry said.
Yeah, right. Give me this ball real quick. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with one quick thing. So Clarence has been holding this cool Dallas Cowboys ball. We're here in one of the, I guess this is a conference room, and it overlooks one of the practice fields, the outdoor practice field here at the Star. And you can see some of the cool things that they've got up here. Bob Lilly jersey, a ball from the Super Bowl that they won 78 years ago against Denver. So I'm going to ask Clarence, who is a diehard Cowboys fan growing up. Not so much you start covering the team, but the guys here on this team, I know you loved Uncle Tony Dorsett, right?
Yes.
Okay. We got Mel Renfro. We've got Randy White, Roger Staubach, and Bob Lilly. No. Is Mel in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. So all of them are Pro Football Hall of Famers. Who was the best one? Randy, Bob Lilly, Roger Staubach, Tony D, or Mel Renfro?
Well, Bob Lilly was the best one.
Really?
Mr. Cowboy was the best one.
I'll be damned. I thought you were going to go with Roger.
I mean, who didn't love Roger?
Well, everybody loves Roger, but who was the best? I mean,
they didn't call Bob Lilly Mr. Cowboy for nothing.
I thought they called him Mr. Cowboy because he was the first draft pick.
Well, all of that. The first draft pick, the first great player. Look at his Pro Bowl. Look at his All Pros. Bob Lilly was the man. He's as far as football success.
There we go. Football
success. Bob Lilly, for sure.
Okay, I'm biased. I'm going with Roger Staubach because he did a forward for my book. So that's why I'm doing it. This has been a lot of fun for all of your Dallas Cowboys coverage needs, which will kick off on Thursday from Las Vegas with the first round. This was supposed to be done last year, and they couldn't because of COVID, or 2 years ago. So they're finally going to get to the NFL draft in Las Vegas. But, hey, no gambling. That'll be on Thursday, and the other rounds are in the following days. For all of your Dallas Cowboys draft coverage needs, check us out on StarTelegram.com. Check us out next week for another episode of Dallas Cowboys Overtime, where we will crucify this draft.
Of course, I may have COVID for standing next to him, but
well, how about that? Okay, see you then. See you.